Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the studentloanjustice.org live stream. My name is Alan Collins. We are studentloanjustice.org. Welcome. We are the oldest, largest, and pretty much only true grassroots citizens group fighting for student loan justice. We've been around for coming up on 16 years now. For the first 15 years of our existence, we very moderately fought for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. Terrible thing to have to do, but it's got to be there for borrowers. Bankruptcy exists for every loan in this country except student loans. It is, for all intents and purposes, impossible to discharge student loans and only student loans in bankruptcy. So that puts us in a class with criminals, deadbeat dads, others. So this is not right, folks. But, as I said, we've been doing this for 15 years. We've been featured top story on 60 Minutes, profiled in the New York Times and Fast Company and the Wall Street Journal and Los Angeles Times. We've broken many, many, many stories. Suffice it to say, we know a few things about this student loan program. And the one thing that I can tell you with supreme confidence tonight, here, now, as we speak. And by the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them up if you're watching us on Facebook. I'm very happy to respond to them live. And your voice is important, so I want to hear what you all have to say out there. But the one thing that we know is that this is now a catastrophically failed lending system with a capital F. It's done. It's toast. Put a fork in it. So even before the pandemic, 80%, 4 out of 5 of all federal student loan borrowers were never going to be able to repay their loans. They were either unable to pay, they were in default, deferment, forbearance, otherwise unable to pay. Oh, and that's like 63% or 65%. Or they were paying and paying and paying, and that's like 15%. But their balance was going up, not down. So the default rate for everybody walking around with student loans right now, my best estimate, and nobody knows exactly what this number is, but my best estimate is that if everybody walking around with student loans right now, the default rate is going to be 70, 75, maybe even 80%. And that was before the pandemic. So, the default rate for subprime home mortgages was like 18%. So we are 4 times higher than that. I don't know what more I can tell you that would cause you to agree that this is a catastrophically failed lending system. So, and don't feel bad, guys. I know all of us have student loans that are watching this probably right now. And the one thing I would say is don't feel bad. This is not our fault. This is a bad, catastrophically failed lending system. It happens from time to time. Look at the subprime home mortgage crisis. That's a failed lending system. And by the way, that only had, as I said, an 18% default rate, where we are looking at 80%. Look at the S&L scandal back in the 80s. It just happens. Lending systems spin out of control, and sometimes they fail. They just do. So this is what has happened with federal student loans, certainly. Probably also private student loans, although the data on that is a little harder to come by. But as goes one, so go them all, really. I'm going to change my glasses. I don't like these glasses. So here we are, Sunday night, November 29th, I think. It's a failed lending system, folks, and the loans have to be canceled at this point. Canceled. Now, you can hear me now and believe me later, but believe me when I tell you that I know a thing or two about student loans. I've written books. We've broken many, many, many media stories since 2006. All that stuff that we've done, you can Google this group and you can see everything that we've done. And it is with supreme confidence that I am telling you, this is a catastrophically failed lending system. Now, we're still fighting for bankruptcy protections. So there's 2 things we're fighting for right now. Number 1, the president has the power to cancel all federal loans by executive order. Don't believe what you're reading in the press right now. The president absolutely does have this power. And I can go into that in more detail if you want me to. The president can do it, and at this point, the president has to do it. Whether it's President Trump, whether it's President Biden, this has got to happen because this lending system is vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak. But the second thing that is still important is indeed bankruptcy. So the president can cancel all federally owned student loans, but that's like only 85% of all student debt. There's still going to be 15% of student loans hanging out there, like private loans, these sort of hybrid FFELP loans, which are guaranteed by the government but owned privately. So we still do need to get bankruptcy protections returned. And on that note, there are two pieces of legislation we are fighting for hard. They could be passed by the end of the year, although it's looking increasingly unlikely. I think it still could happen, but we would have to fight very hard. So if you have private loans or other loans that cannot be canceled directly by the president, you should call your servicer and find out, by the way. A lot of people think they have private loans, but in fact they have federal loans. So you should find that out. But we need to get bankruptcy protections back for these loans. So there's two bills, S1414, HR 2648. HR 2648 has passed out of committee and is ready to be voted on in the full House of Representatives. So Nancy Pelosi is the person that we need to convince there to get that bill up for a vote. On the Senate side, we have to convince Mitch McConnell, well, first of all, Lindsey Graham, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and then Mitch McConnell to, in the first place with Lindsey Graham, pass S1414 out of committee, Judiciary Committee. And then we have to convince Lindsey Graham to put it up for a full vote in the Senate. So that is, I'm not going to say impossible, but it is a very tough thing that needs to happen there. Now, this issue is changing very quickly under our feet. There is a chance that the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, will pass this bill out of committee by the end of the year, and that President Trump will sign it, and I'm sure he will. But that all depends on how hard we fight, folks. So yeah, that's what that is. We started a petition on the cancellation part. We started a petition on change.org, calling on the president to do what we said: cancel all federally owned student loans by executive order. We started this in March, by the way, before anybody was talking about canceling student loans by executive order. And I'm very happy to tell you right now here tonight, we have 837,000 signatures. So we're getting very close to 1 million signatures. And if you forget everything I say tonight, remember, the harder you push that petition, it's at change.org/cancel student loans, the easier it will get on all of us. We could easily have 20 million signatures on that petition. Like, that's not even hard. Like, that to me is kind of the low end of what I think we should have on this petition. Really, I think we should probably have something like 30 million or more signatures on the petition. Because remember, there are 55 million people in the country right now who either have student loans or are co-signed on them. And 80% were never going to be able to pay even before the pandemic. So on the low end, that's 44 million people in the country who are losing sleep over their student loans. 38 or 9 million of them have federal student loans, which could and I think must be canceled by the president. So please just remember that. Now, there's one other very important point that you need to be aware of. So let me just say, this group is pretty important that you stumbled on. This group right here, we are the reason that Elizabeth Warren included bankruptcy protections in her presidential agenda. More to the point, we are the reason that Elizabeth Warren pledged that on day one as president, she would issue an executive order calling on the Department of Education and its contractors, ideally, to stop opposing bankruptcy filers on student loans in bankruptcy court. So good on us. We were able to convince her to do that. But the most important thing here, folks, is that Joe Biden said he was adopting Elizabeth Warren's bankruptcy plan. So this pledge that Elizabeth Warren made, that's the most important part of her bankruptcy plan. So if Joe Biden is a man of his word, he is obligated to issue an executive order doing what I just said on day one, on January 20th, as president. And we are going to remind him of that fact, folks. But we are going to need your help on that in the coming weeks and month, I would say. Maybe 6 weeks. Let's call it 50 days. We're definitely going to need your help on all the stuff that I just said. We need your help on that petition. We need your help to put pressure on Joe Biden. We need your help to push particularly Republican senators in Congress to move S-1414 up for a vote before the end of the year. So those are 3 things, guys, 3 things we're working on. And I can tell you, having done this for many, many years, and being a voice in the wilderness for many, many years, me and this group and our 50 state chapter leaders and all of our members, when you do nothing, nothing happens. If we allow the student loan swamp to craft the solution to this problem, nothing will change. Nothing. You know, we were very glad to see Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, I'm not going to say steal, but appropriate our idea and start championing the concept of canceling student loans by executive order. That's actually a very important thing and a very good thing. But we are not thrilled that they turned it into a political, watered down football. So right now on loan cancellation, what we're hearing about is maybe a $10,000 loan cancellation by executive order on day one. Maybe, as Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer are calling for, an up to $50,000 cancellation, which could mean anything. I mean, I'm sorry, folks, but that's just not worth the paper it's written on. What needs to happen, truly, is all federal loans must be canceled. This is a failed lending system, and this pandemic offers the best opportunity to get rid of this, I'm going to say it again, catastrophically failed, but also nationally threatening lending system. You know, folks, we do not have to put up with this shit. This is an unconstitutional, viciously predatory, nationally threatening lending system that has not been inflicted on any previous population of this country. It is out of control. It is insane, crazy, and it's got to go. No half measures. No lame, look good, but actually suck solutions. Up to $50,000. Nonsense. $10,000. Nonsense. We're in a pandemic right now. We're throwing trillions upon trillions of dollars out into the economy in ways that all adds to the national debt, including $1 trillion in PPP loans, small business loans that don't need to be repaid. All that stuff adds to the national debt. PPP loans don't need to be repaid. Federally owned student loans could be canceled tomorrow without needing one dime of congressional appropriation, without adding one penny to the national debt. There is no better, easier, more appropriate, better targeted way to stimulate the economy than getting rid of these loans. So we'll see. We've got a lot of work to do, folks. And I hope that you will join us. I hope that you will join your state chapter group, and you can go to our website and see how to do that. It's on Facebook. So if you're watching us on Facebook, then you have no excuse. I hope that you all will do everything you can to help us grow our petition. And maybe the third and last thing I'll ask you to do tonight, third of 4 things, 2 more things. We just published an article at Medium.com. So if you Google student loan cancellation and Medium.com, or actually if you Google the conservative case for canceling student loans, this is an article that we wrote about 6 days ago. It is targeted at conservatives. They tend to be the people who are opposing us the most. But once you read this article, you will see that our argument is truly a conservative one. I kid you not. We are battling the worst big government lending scam in the history, not only of this country, but on earth. You know, this is a government-run lending scam system. I call it a scam. In fact, what else are you going to call it? Of course it's a scam. There are no other loans from which bankruptcy and statute of limitations have been removed. This is the biggest big government lending scam, not just in national history, U.S. history, but in world history. So you are on the right side of history here tonight. But find that article, The Conservative Case for Canceling Student Loans, and send it to your local media, send it to national media. In fact, send it to conservative people who maybe you like or maybe you hate. Send it to Rush Limbaugh. Send it to Newsmax. Send it to Fox News. Send it to Tucker Carlson. We would be very happy to go toe-to-toe, and we have, by the way, in the past. We're very happy to go on Fox News or Newsmax or OAN or the most far-right news media platform available to plead our case and win this argument. We have never lost this argument, and we never will. So we need your help with that. So just a quick recap. Push the petition. Do everything you can to push the petition. Help with S1414, HR 2648, particularly Republican senators. Give that article at medium.com, Conservative Case for Canceling Student Loans, as many claps as you can. So it's kind of a stupid thing, but it does matter. It will build our profile on medium.com. So go to the bottom of the article, you'll see a little hand. Click on the hand as many times as you can. I think you can give it 5 claps. But more importantly, get that article to conservatives in the media, because right now they are coming after us hard. They're saying, don't cancel loans. It's not fair. It can't be done. It won't stimulate the economy. All of those points are just absolutely false on their faces. And we can prove it with very hard facts. So please do that. The very last thing I'm going to ask you to do tonight before I sign off, I'm going to leave it a little early tonight. Please, if you could make a donation. You know, we are a true grassroots group. We don't need much to survive, to fight, and win this battle, but we can't do it on nothing. So for the past, 10 years, I actually self-funded this organization for the first, 4 or 5 years. But for the past 10 years, we have been reliant 100% on donations from normal people, distressed student loan borrowers. And as I said, we don't need much. Like our average monthly operating budget is something like $1,700, $1,800. So it's not much, but we cannot do it on nothing. So if you can spare a donation to keep us in this fight, please make the fundraising a little bit easier on us. I hope that all of you, particularly those of you who have been around this group for a while, have noticed how we are just absolutely kicking ass right now. I mean, just in the past month or two, we've been featured in Newsweek and Yahoo News and Heavy.com and I think Rolling Stone and Vice News and CNBC, dozens and dozens of local television stations, radio stations, you name it. And we have brought this loan cancellation issue to the zeitgeist. So we are kicking ass, and it would just be a tragedy if we couldn't survive, if we couldn't raise the relatively nominal amount of money that we need to survive, to fight, and win this battle. So if you can go to studentloanjustice.org/support, or just go to studentloanjustice.org and just look. You can see the little donation button. Please do that. And by the way, thanks to everybody who has been kicking in lately. We literally would not be here and will not be here to fight this battle without your support. So come on, guys. Step up. So with that, I will just say, hang in there, guys. I know it's rough, but we are right. The Constitution is on our side. History is on our side. 55 million people are on our side, whether they know it or not. That's more than all the standing armies on Earth combined. We got this. But we've got to spread the word. We've got to get more people here helping us fight. So come on, guys. Good luck. Let's make this the best week ever for student loan justice. Good luck. Godspeed. God bless everybody.